Tonight, patching holes in the social safety net. How a long overdue promise aims to ease the affordability crisis.
This program will pay out hundreds of millions of dollars in benefits.
A possible preview of more Liberal pledges in next month's federal budget.
They're printing cash to pay for their out-of-control spending.
Canada's sagging job market shows signs of hope. What sector is leading the way?
We're the only ones in Canada that actually do this.
Plus, the White House threats that sparked a major sell-off. And raising a glass to domestic wine producers.
Once Canadians taste these wines, they go, why would we buy U.S. wines going forward?
Savor the flavor of a sweet break from a bitter continental trade war.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. As we head into the Thanksgiving weekend, the Prime Minister is promising to make life more affordable after a week of intense pressure to ensure progress on hard files like trade and energy. Today, Mark Carney pledged a series of new measures to help ease day-to-day costs for Canadians. It comes just weeks before his first ever federal budget. CTV's Rachel Aiello takes us through it.
Today, the Prime Minister took a long-promised step towards ensuring all Canadians are fully covered under this country's social safety net. Starting next year, the Canada Revenue Agency will automatically file taxes for low-income individuals.
This program will pay out hundreds of millions of dollars in benefits in the next few years that would otherwise be left unclaimed.
The Liberals are also making a pilot program that provides food to schools nationwide permanent.
It's saving parents with 2 children about $800 a year on groceries.
And are renewing the Canada Strong Pass, making museums, parks, and train tickets cheaper for a month over the December holidays and again for summer 2026.
Since no one can possibly experience all that Canada has to offer in just a few short months.
The announcement, the start of a political communication strategy.
Today was a preview of some of the things we're going to see in the next federal budget.
There's going to be more good news, trust me.
That was exactly my question.
Trust me.
But not all think the budget will bring good news.
They're printing cash to pay for their out-of-control spending.
Today, the government couldn't say why the years-old Liberal promise to make tax filing easier hadn't been acted on sooner, or why it'll take until 2028 to fully implement it.
I mean, we can talk all day about why something didn't happen in 2023 or 24 or 22, what have you, but I know certainly moving forward in this budget, 25, 26, 27, we have ambitious goals.
Those ambitious goals will soon collide with Carney's promise of austerity.
It's going to be a complicated and in some ways contradictory exercise when it comes to communicating this budget and its measures.
The Prime Minister said today's measures will be considered operational rather than capital expenditures, a new distinction the government intends to make in its November 4th budget. Heather?
Rachel Aiello in Ottawa. At that news conference today, Rachel also asked the Prime Minister if he believes Western Canada needs another pipeline. Alberta wants it, British Columbia does not. Here's how Mark Carney responded.
We believe, this government believes in nation-building projects, which can, in both clean and conventional energy. Those projects have several characteristics. Material economic benefits, linking together different parts of our economy, consistency with our climate objectives, and benefits and participation for Indigenous peoples. So those elements coming together can come together in a pipeline to the West Coast.
Let's bring in CTV's chief political correspondent, Vashi Kapelos, now in Ottawa. Vashi, Mark Carney didn't say no to the idea. What should we read into his response?
Well, exactly that, Heather. It's actually very news generating. An excellent question from Rachel and an answer that provides some guidance about where the Prime Minister is on this, because it really is distinguished from what we heard from the Federal Energy Minister just yesterday, which was, it's going to be Alberta's thing. They're going to have to convince BC to get on board because Alberta and BC are so at odds over the prospect of another pipeline to BC's northwest coast. What we heard from the Prime Minister there is exactly what you said, Heather. It's not a no, which means that there is some wiggle room going forward. And I think sets the table for something different than we might have anticipated otherwise. I thought the other very interesting thing he said today was around what might be necessary in order for a second pipeline to go ahead, namely that the emissions cap, for example, on oil and gas could be eliminated, or that the tanker ban on the northwest coast of BC could be eliminated as well. He was asked, would you be willing to repeal either of those things, by Rachel again, and he said it depends, and talked a little bit more about possible outcomes. Didn't say no. If that had been the previous prime minister, those were key planks of his climate plan, he would have said no way, no how. So something to take from that as well, Heather.
Vashi, thank you for your insight. A major escalation in the trade war between the U.S. and China. U.S. President Donald Trump threatening a massive increase in tariffs on November 1st. Trump posting on Truth Social, the United States of America will impose a tariff of 100% on China over and above any tariff that they are currently paying. Trump's comments on China earlier in the day shook the markets. The Dow fell 879 points, its worst day since May. The S&P 500 dropped 2.7%, and the Nasdaq slid 3.5%, their worst day since April. The TSX closed down more than 400, its biggest decline since April. Some unexpected news for the Canadian economy, with 60,000 jobs added last month. But with the unemployment rate steady at just over 7%, it's a good reminder to focus on the longer-term trends. CTV's Adrian Gobriel on the sector seeing gains and what's holding it back from growing even more.
This particular unit here,
Rudy Pasquini's stainless steel banding company in Vaughan, Ontario, has been a decades-long passion project.
We're the only ones in Canada that actually do this. We've been doing it since about 2001.
Those plans to hire have been put on hold after multiple U.S. clients put the brakes on their orders from his Canadian company.
We had a deal cooking in the U.S. that would have probably brought in about $9 million U.S. dollars. And because of the tariffs, it's all been put on hold.
Canada's unemployment rate across the country hovered at an average of 7.1% in September. Excluding the pandemic, this matches the 9-year high that was reached in August. Yet the country's economy also posted a net gain of 60,400 jobs in September, led by manufacturing, which accounted for nearly half of the spike in employment. Though the uptick in manufacturing positions isn't being felt across the board.
Adrian, if we had that U.S. business and there were no tariffs, we would have expanded our operation by at least 10 more people.
The news is especially bleak for those trying to enter the job market. Unemployment among youth and young adults aged 15 to 24 increased to 14.7% in September, the highest it's been in 15 years.
Anytime the labor market has slacked, young people tend to bear the brunt of it.
The modest increase in September was also led by full-time employment opportunities.
Here at Band and Go, Rudy Pasquini is calling on more recognition for the manufacturing sector and a renewed understanding of its ability to grow Canada's GDP and power job growth. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Vaughan, Ontario.
Some businesses are relieved that mail delivery is set to resume, though on a limited basis. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers is switching strategy and moving to rotating strikes. CTV's Alison Bamford explains.
Stacks upon stacks of flyers, the center of this physio clinic's marketing campaign.
We wanted to really stand out.
Nirali Patel hoped they'd be in mailboxes across Saskatoon by now. Instead, she's stuck with 10,000 of them, flyers with promotional offers that have expiration dates for early November. She says 50% of her marketing budget will go to waste if they don't get delivered.
If they do deliver those, that would be fantastic for me. It will be a huge help.
Patel still has a chance now that the Postal Workers Union announced it will transition from a nationwide strike to rotating job action, getting mail and parcels moving again.
Massive relief when I saw that this morning.
Monique Poisson-Fast is hopeful the transition will increase online orders from customers that stalled over the last 2 weeks when they paused all shipping on their website.
My summer student position had just finished a week before the strike. And so I was gearing up for this to become my primary source of income again.
Resuming mail delivery will help these and other small shops that have already lost money in this strike, according to the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. But experts say rotating strikes will continue to prolong backlogs, delivery delays, and frustration among customers.
This kind of strike could increase uncertainty.
The federal minister responsible for Canada Post says he's encouraged by the move. Rotating strikes will begin tomorrow. Local branches will be told when to rotate out of service closer to that time. Alison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
At least 18 people are missing and feared dead after a massive blast at a military explosives facility in Tennessee. The sound of the blast was caught on camera this morning an hour southwest of Nashville. Residents reported hearing the blast up to 30 kilometers away. Major damage could be seen to the site and the surrounding area. Crews from multiple law enforcement agencies are there searching through the rubble. The local sheriff says it's the most devastating thing he's ever seen.
So, excuse me, I ask you to keep in mind those families.
3 people were also treated with minor injuries. The company supplies and researches explosives for the military. Residents are being asked to avoid the area as a precaution. 2 developments in the Middle East as President Trump's peace plan comes into effect. Israeli soldiers pulling out of parts of Gaza as thousands of Palestinians are starting to return home. CTV's Kamal Karmali joins us with more on this phase and the cautious optimism. Kamal.
Heather, although other ceasefires have failed, there's hope that this one will be longer lasting. Mass movement on the ground in Gaza. Hours after Israel's government approved a ceasefire plan early Friday, ratifying the first phase of a peace deal with Hamas. Thousands of Palestinians making the trek from the south of the Strip north to Gaza City, what was once a city of roughly 1 million people reduced to rubble. Families returning to what's left of their homes. Fida Hara searching for a mattress, even a pillow. Because winter is coming, she says, but she doubts she'll find anything. Israeli forces seen withdrawing from parts of the enclave, troops now stationed behind a line of agreement.
But it is still in Gaza. So there is a tremendous amount of work to be done.
The next 3 days crucial to the success of this deal. Israel has agreed to release 250 Palestinians locked up in prison cells and another 1,700 detainees. While Hamas has agreed to release 48 Israeli captives, 20 of them still believed to be alive, and a deadline to return them by Monday.
The Red Cross will be intimately involved in trying to facilitate the exchange of Palestinians and Israelis. There will be a lot of discussion on the ground about what routes they will take.
Starting today, about 600 humanitarian aid trucks are also expected to enter Gaza daily after the United Nations had declared a famine nearly 2 months ago.
This aid is life-saving and we need to see it get in immediately.
This first phase, part of U.S. President Donald Trump's 20-point plan, with U.S. troops touching down in Israel to monitor the ceasefire, while U.S. President Donald Trump will arrive in Israel on Monday and is set to address Israeli parliament and convene world leaders for a summit. Heather.
Thank you, Kamal. The Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded to the leader of the Venezuelan opposition,
Maria Corina Machado, for her tireless work promoting democratic rights.
Machado currently lives in hiding but refuses to leave the country of Venezuela. She was lauded for being a key unifying figure in a once deeply divided opposition to the Nicolas Maduro government. Here is the moment Machado received the call.
You will be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025.
Oh my God, I have no words. This is a movement. This is a achievement of a whole society.
Machado was blocked by Venezuela's courts from running for president against Maduro, who has been in power since 2013. Coming up, traveling abroad for care.
I couldn't wait. I was just I was losing it.
Where this man found relief when he couldn't wait for surgery on home soil. Plus, the high-profile face-to-face before a soccer friendly. Waitlist delays and doctor shortages are adding to the pain felt by many Canadians, sometimes waiting years for surgeries they desperately need. CTV's Kathy Lee on the lengths one Alberta man was willing to go.
Each step a revelation for Gary Garby. The pain that once consumed him.
It was excruciating. I was bedridden for the most part.
Now becoming a dull memory thanks to surgery on his hip.
It started off as mild osteoarthritis. From there to severe, to the bones were grinding, to the ball collapsing and fracturing.
But relief wasn't found in a Canadian hospital. The 64-year-old flew to Lithuania for the procedure because the wait time at home could have been a year or two.
I couldn't wait. I was just I was losing it.
We would have sold things if we needed to in order to go and get this done. It was at that point. The surgery alone was $16,000.
But that price tag's still cheaper than a private clinic back home, some places almost double. Garby's surgery was facilitated by Med Travel Solutions. It says 95% of patients are from Canada, and they try to schedule everything within 6 weeks.
This is a growing phenomenon. The Canadian healthcare system is letting patients down, so they're giving up and going elsewhere. They don't want to wait.
In a statement, the province says there is more work to do to reduce wait times across our healthcare system, but that Alberta continues to perform better than the national average in surgical wait times in 4 areas: hip replacement, hip fracture repair, knee replacement, and radiation therapy. Still, for Garby, the system failed him.
It's hard to comprehend that you'd have to travel that far to something that like this severity in order to remedy it.
But now the focus is on the future. With each day, he feels closer to reclaiming the life
things are just going to get better from here on in.
He thought he had lost. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Strathmore, Alberta.
An emotional moment for Prince William as he discussed the impact of suicide on World Mental Health Day.
The hardest thing is we would have been okay. You okay?
I'm sorry, it's hard to ask you questions that
and
I know.
Hard, and
it is.
You've experienced loss yourself.
It's okay.
The Prince of Wales visibly moved by his conversation with Rhiannon Mannings, whose husband took his own life. Prince William's Royal Foundation is contributing £1 million to Mannings' charity to help develop a national suicide prevention network. Still ahead, Canadian wine producers are toasting a surge in sales, why they're confident it will last. Canada's men's national soccer team was looking for a third win in a row in a series of international friendly matches ahead of next summer's World Cup tournament.
Waste no time crossing the ball inside. Segura doesn't meet it, and Iran Kunda able to beat Max Crepeau.
But Canada lost a close one to their Commonwealth rivals, Australia, 1-0 in front of a sold-out crowd in Montreal. That included Prime Minister Mark Carney. Prior to the match, Carney was visited by the president of FIFA in Ottawa.
I brought you a little souvenir. No, it's not a souvenir, actually. It's
my
ticket. It's your ticket.
Take a look at that. President Gianni Infantino handed Carney a ticket to the first World Cup match to be played in Canada on June 12th in Toronto. Producers in Ontario's Niagara region are celebrating a successful harvest and a silver lining to Trump's trade war. Here's CTV's John Vanavalley-Rao on how a boycott of American booze has uncorked a surge in sales.
In Ontario's Niagara region, the grape harvest is well underway. You can see the workers among the row upon row of vines at Hidden Bench Vineyard and Winery, where they've been busy snipping and picking the Pinot Noir.
This year's been a pretty good year. It's been pretty dry, which helps us at this time of year, reduces our mildew.
Fruit that's sorted by hand, and grapes that'll be turned into wine, seeing strong demand amid the push to buy Canadian.
Sales have been up a tremendous amount, to the point that, we have to be careful that we don't run out of wine.
Vineyard owner Harold Teal says some of his sales have doubled ever since Ontario and other provinces pulled American alcohol from store shelves. At nearby Westcott Vineyard, it's the same story, and they expect sales to keep growing.
We were already experiencing some growth, but with those U.S. wines coming off,
we've just had some really significant great growth.
That growth reflected in the latest numbers. In Ontario, sales of some local wines are up 67% in government-run stores. For reds, it's 80%. As consumers switched to domestic wine instead of products from places like California. Of course, the big question now, what happens when the boycott in Ontario comes to an end? Wine producers say since March, they've heard from plenty of people who'd been previously reluctant to buy their wines.
They are trying Ontario wine, and they're finding that it is really good quality wine.
And once the boycott is lifted, they expect some won't switch back.
Once Canadians taste these wines, they go, why would we buy U.S. wines going forward?
And as the harvest continues, a potential trade war upside worth toasting. John Venevalley-Rouse, CTV News, Lincoln, Ontario.
Still ahead, a tasty twist to a holiday staple. Slicing up a new way to serve your Thanksgiving turkey. As we roll into Thanksgiving weekend, planning for the big family meal can be stressful, expensive, and a lot of work. Here's CTV's Brendan Strain on how one business is serving up success any way you slice it.
A small pizza shop has been slinging cheese wheels in this central Saanich location since 1988.
My parents owned it. They bought it in 1999. I was 5 years old.
8 years ago, Rick Scott bought Peninsula Pizza from his parents. He switched up the menu a bit, but the staples are still his best sellers.
Well, the pepperoni takes the cake.
Then comes the Hawaiian pizza, followed up by the good old plain cheese pizza.
We specialize in more non-traditional style pizzas.
They do a chicken and waffles, as well as a bow bun pizza, among others. On the heels of Thanksgiving weekend, the small pizza joint is about to bring back its most popular seasonal dish for the 20th year in a row.
Well, we got about 50 pounds of stuffing, 60 liters of homemade gravy,
as well as about 50 pounds of free-range, locally raised turkey.
We call it a turkey dinner pizza.
It's exactly what it sounds like and begins like any other pizza.
This is our pizza dough.
Then it gets interesting.
The gravy is going to go right on the base.
Followed up by the turkey mixture with sausage and stuffing.
Celery, carrots, and onion, and a lot of love.
Then some may say this turkey dinner gets a bit unconventional.
Well, it is a pizza, so we gotta put the cheese on the pizza.
It's thrown in the oven for approximately 12 to 15 minutes, but the job isn't over at this point.
In the box.
Once cooked, Rick keeps giving. Mashed potatoes are added as a topper, as well as more gravy, then garnished with a side of cranberry sauce.
Sweet and salty for you? How you like me now?
It's almost like cheating because everything's better on pizza, right?
Cam Stanfield is a regular customer at the pizzeria and says the turkey dinner pizza?
It's a staple every year.
Tonight, Peninsula Pizza will start selling its Thanksgiving weekend holiday tradition. Brendan Strain, CTV News, Central Saanich.
All right, that looks tasty. That is our newscast for this Friday night. I'm Heather Butts. Thank you for watching. Good night, and I'll see you again tomorrow.